Welcome back. The wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, has taken a swipe at the social investment program of the federal government and says the program has failed to achieve its aim in Kano State and most parts of northern Nigeria. Mrs. Buhari mentioned this during an interactive session with women as part of the presidential inauguration ceremony at the State House, Abuja. Mrs. Buhari specifically mentioned the conditional cash transfer component and questioned the method used in executing the program.
Irrespective of background, they have spent $16 million on buying hospitals. I did not get it, but maybe some people have gotten it. I didn't get it. But I feel that, that's my personal opinion, I feel that $16 million is enough to fumigate hospitals in Nigeria. And I was expecting the social investment, 500 billion naira funds to be utilized in a different method in order to achieve the aim, you know. But I don't know the method they used. Most of the northern states did not get the money. I don't know. My state didn't get the money, but I don't know whether your state has gotten the money. It worked out well in some states, but the methods maybe should be used differently. In my own state, one local government benefited from it, that is out of 22 local governments. I didn't ask what happened, and I don't want to know. But for it to fail woefully in Kano is not a good sign. I've learned that 3 days ago, 12.something billion naira was released purposely to take care of trauma cases in hospitals throughout the country. Can we please monitor and see the way the money is going to be spent? Because the ministers are leaving very soon. The amount is being released. So let the Ministry of Health be careful and account for the money.
Zainab Habib, a Nigerian student recently released by the Saudi Arabian government after being declared innocent of drug trafficking, has been explaining her ordeal in the Saudi detention facility. She told our correspondent, Idris Jibrin, that despite what she went through, she still intends to go back to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to perform Hajj like any other Muslim.
Nearly 2 weeks after Zainab Habib, a student of Pt.3 University, returns from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia after being detained since December 2018 on allegation of drug trafficking. We have come here to hear her story, the life in prison in Saudi Arabia.
December the 26th, 2018, Zainab, her mother and sister arrived in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for Lesser Hajj. A few hours later, security operatives stormed a hotel in Medina where she lodged alongside her mother, only to be arrested on allegation of drug trafficking.
It is a situation that you can't explain how you felt. It's an inner feelings that cannot be voiced out until you pass through the situation, which I can't wish anyone to pass through that experience that I passed through.
4 months is like 4 years in Saudi Arabian prison to these 22-year-old student of Pt.3 University in Kano.
A prison is not like a home, so you won't expect to be treated how you have been treated at home. So the treatment is just somehow.
After several letters to the NDLEA, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Diaspora by Zainab's father, investigations revealed that Zainab was framed by some staff of the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, most of whom are clearing agents.
I can tell you, in my presence, the people who were called, who work on that, they confessed orally and written that yes, they have known about that bag, and they said somebody brought the bag to them. They used my daughter's tag on that bag. And there are text messages sent, communicated between both of them, that a particular bag, 2 bags, will be brought to the airport. they should find a tag for them. And unfortunately, they use one of my daughter's tag to tag that bag.
The process they use is that a passenger will come with his or her luggage. They will use the information on that passenger's passport and travel documents, your name, everything, and then generate a tag. That tag, they will generate one tag. When they generate that one tag, they will delete your name, your information on the system, and then start afresh as if they made a mistake. The system permits that they will start afresh and generate your data again and produce a second tag in one person's name. And then, of course, if you open the system, it is only one name you will see. You will not see, the second name will not be there. So that second tag is what they will use to tag on the passenger's luggage.
Then, to make matters worse for Zainab, she was told by some persons to forget about going back to Nigeria, but she remained hopeful.
There is one woman that told me that I should just forget about my family, I should just be praying, because if you came inside the prison, you'll never go out.
After 4 months in detention in Saudi Arabia, Zainab's fellow students stormed the Saudi consulate in Kano demanding her immediate release. They say she is innocent.
Like many other students, Zainab Habib is now free, but her story would surely be in the history books of Maitama Sule University, especially looking at the fact that the release of Zainab was announced few hours after the students of this university stormed the Saudi consulate here in Kano. Idris Jibrin reporting for Channels Television News.
The Federal Capital Territory Authority is insisting on the ban on rock blasting and mining activities in the nation's capital, Abuja. The ban was put in place following the tremor that rocked the Mpape and Maitama areas of the FCT last year. The FCTA is also pushing for an amendment to the Abuja Environmental Protection Board Act of 1997 to allow for more stringent punishment for the faulters. In this special report, our correspondent Terry Kumi takes a look at the rocks in the FCT.
Located at the center of the country, the city of Abuja is described as very beautiful. It is known for its wonderful road networks, known for its parks and gardens, and most notably, its mountains and rocks.
Built in the 1980s, Abuja replaced Lagos as the capital of Nigeria in December 1991. It is a city known for its geographically rocky and mountainous landscape. A popular rock in the city is the Aso Rock, which many mistake for the presidential villa, but is actually a 1,300 feet monolith around the presidential villa. This rock at Katampe is easily accessible. We make our way to the top of the rock. People come up here to hang out and also get a good view of the beautiful city. For others, it's a worship site. Probably because of its easy access, the rocks are being broken into small pieces and sold for different purposes, albeit illegally. The stone breakers, as they call themselves, have their phone numbers inscribed on the rocks. I decided to call the number, posing as a buyer. Moments later, this man shows up, ready for business, but I am more interested in whether he has the permission of the authorities to break and sell the rocks. Having pleaded for an off-the-record conversation, he tells me that it is illegal to break and sell the rocks, but they do it anyways, for survival. I reached out to the Director of Information of the Federal Capital Territory Authority to find out what the FCTA is doing to deter the stone breakers.
If you do not seek approval and you go ahead and you do that, we can take you on that violation of that act. Once you are arrested, you will face a magistrate court. But unfortunately, the penalty is so minimal because the act itself is very old. It's of 1997. You can imagine 1997 is almost about 20 years ago. We cannot take you to magistrate court, and magistrate court will give you a sanction of 5,000 naira. Anybody can just throw 5,000 naira at you and go ahead and do what they want to do, and that will impact on the environment.
This is the City Gate, the entry point into the city center from the airport. Right next to it is the National Stadium and two gigantic rocks, a popular location for hikers. Our next stop is Pape, an entire suburb built on hills and mountains.
Now, in 2018, this area was rocked by a ground shaking, which investigations revealed was a tremor caused by mining activities and rock blasting, prompting the authorities to put a ban on those activities, except, of course, with express permission.
The FCTA Director of Information insists that the ban is still in place.
To avoid any disaster in Abuja, we decided that before you do any of such, because sometimes it may be necessary for you to have all this mining activity, especially for sand or for rock, to create infrastructure. Before you do that, you must come and to the FCTA and get approval for such.
Apart from the mining potentials of the rocks, the FCT authorities regard them as a tourist attraction. But that can only be possible if these rocks are protected. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
After the expiration of the 72-hour deadline issued by President Muhammadu Buhari on May the 22nd for the evacuation of all articulated trucks from the route leading to the nation's foremost port in Apapa, following the President's order, a presidential task force chaired by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, was also set up to restore law and order in the area. Our correspondent, Olu Phillips, who has been monitoring the level of compliance to the President's directive, reports that so far, nothing much seems to have changed. Many of the trucks are still seen on the roadside, while officials move to enforce the President's directive. Many drivers say they are facing a big challenge of where to move the trucks to. And now let's get more on business stories from Kayode.
Thank you, Melinda, and you're welcome to Business News. Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele has attributed some of the advancements in Nigeria's macroeconomic variables to certain policy implementation at the Apex Bank. Mr. Emefiele, who made the statement in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, notes that such policies will be sustained to accelerate the pace of economic growth.
Much of the success we see today is due to the adoption of heterodox macroeconomic policies. Within the CBN, our conventional methods, especially in the management of the FX market, and our development financing of alternatives, supported by the orthodox approaches in the form of our timely adjustments of monetary policy rate, have been able to optimally balance the delicate objectives of price stability and real output growth. We will continue to develop policy instruments and devise ways of ensuring that an optimal mix of heterodox policies is continually deployed to engender the overall well-being and prosperity of our country, Nigeria. Our overall aim remains the concurrent attainment of price stability, real growth, full employment, and poverty reduction.
Here's the last is yet to be heard about telco giant MTN's listing on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, as the company has announced that it is under investigation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over its listing last week. But MTN says it has not been accused of any wrongdoing by the EFCC. The telco giant explains in a statement that it received all regulatory approvals required to list its shares on the NSE and that the company is cooperating fully with the authorities. The listing of MTN Nigeria, a unit of South African telecoms firm MTN Group, made it the second largest firm on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. MTN saw its share price fall on Friday for the very first time since it got listed, emerging as the fourth biggest loser at the end of trading on the NSE. Speaking of trading, the third trading week of May at the NSE ends with a massive 6.96% increase in the all-share index and market capitalization, buoyed by a 6-day rally from MTN Nigeria and some support from Dangote Cement. However, 4 out of 5 sub-indexes were downbeat due to heavy profit taking, while the industrial goods sector recovered by 6.12% on gains recorded by Dangote Cement in Thursday's session. Thomas White tops a list of 30 gainers, up for the week, up by 29.03%. Consolidated Hallmark Insurance fell by 20.69% ahead of 39 other losers, while 98 equities remained unchanged in price within the entire 5 trading sessions. Total volume of shares traded for the week stands at 1.69 billion units, worth 57.89 billion naira in 24,328 deals, led primarily by the shares of MTN Nigeria and Sovereign Trust Insurance. Thank you for watching Business News Tonight. I am Kayode Okikiolu. The news at 10 continues with Melinda.
Many thanks, Kayode. Still ahead on the news at 10. All set for the grand finale of the Channel's International Kids Cup as Adetunji Primary School from Kwara State and Banham Primary School from River State booked their space in the final. That's the sports news. Stay with us.